So, the Dragon Age games. Not really known for their stellar combat, but still, party building is a big part of it. Some abilities even revolve around teamwork, doing more damage if affected by a status move from another party member. But what if we threw all of that out the window? I remember looking up guides for solo Dragon Age runs, and seeing a comment along the lines of, why would you want to solo a Dragon Age game? The whole point of it is teamwork. Solo runs shouldn't be possible. Well, that just fueled the flame even more. Shouldn't be possible. But I'm gonna see if they are. Ignore all the other videos who do the exact same thing but more impressively. Also, I just want everyone to know, I literally had a dream last night that that I posted this video and somebody was like, yes, there are so many other videos out there, but yours is the best. And I was so flattered. So we're starting a challenge with Dragon Age Origins. Keeping in mind I've done this a few times in the past. We picked the mage origin, even though it's a pain in my ass, to become a mage, obviously. Soloing the game as a mage is a massive pain, considering how difficult the early game is, but it will pay off once we get a few levels. Also, hi, me from the future, that's a fat fucking lie. To make it so that I'm not spending 3 years farting around in the CC, I import Bunny, a character I made while playing with the Dragon Age character creator. Which is really neat, by the way. I recommend it if you're like me and you make way too many fucking playthroughs of Origins, because it keeps all your, like, mods for custom content. It's actually kind of cool. She looks like that because I'm pretty sure her lore was that she was a half-elf. Even then, I'm not quite sure where I went wrong with her face. But no changing it now, because we got shit to do. I'm going to be putting a majority of my points into mostly magic and then constitution. But I'll probably put 1 or 2 into willpower for a while until I'm a high enough level for blood magic. So the mage origin drags on for eons, so I'll mostly skip it. Here's the origins version of Cullen, and also we sell at Jowen, and when we have to fight alongside someone, I set my party to passive. Aw, Bunny tries to tell Jowen about what she did, but she loses her nerve. It's sort of hard to tell your best friend that you tattled on him, even if it is for his own good.
Where's Gregor?
Aw, it's so cute how in love they are. Also, I grabbed the blackened heartwood staff and lied about it. I never don't. I am loyal to no one in this tower. Alright, if it sounds like shit or you hear some weird things, it's because I just cracked open a window. While we did everything Irving told us, Gregor is still pretty steamed about the whole ordeal. Duncan offers to take us, because he's always looking for Grey Wardens with no moral compass. It took him a bit of convincing and maybe a bit of conscription, but we are on our way to join. Ostagar is a slog, so we'll mostly skip it. The only important parts is that we meet Alistair, a fellow Grey Warden, and between Bunny and the other 2 recruits that I just spent half an hour lugging around, Bunny is the only survivor. Man, this tower part is the worst. It's the worst part of soloing this game. Speaking of worst part of a solo challenge, I'll check back in once I'm fighting the ogre. But for now, I'm surrounded by characters that are, like the last party, just gonna die anyway. Jeez. It's no wonder Bunny just decided to go solo. Everyone we get attached to just dies. Some people argue that using your passive teammates as bait defeats the purpose of a solo challenge, but honestly, I disagree. I think cheesing around the part of the rules involuntarily broken is the best part about challenges. I don't control them. I don't heal them on purpose so that they last longer. I simply use them as needed. Yeah, I don't try to keep them out of the fight, and I don't sacrifice them immediately, but honestly, I'm still doing this alone. Not like they're the ones killing this thing. This ogre fight was, admittedly, a lot easier than I thought it would be, until I got cocky. That was upsetting. Sound. The retreat. Ba, 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 ba. Bro, I will rave about how this is the best cutscene in any RPG, bro. I literally fucking love the cinematics in this part of Dragon Age Origins, even if the gameplay is kind of little. The Battle of Asgard will live in my brain, and most importantly, my heart, until the day that I die. Anyway, I skipped the rescue, so in case we're confused, Morgan and her mom saved us. Alistair, the one party member I can't kill no matter how hard I try, was also rescued, and it's up to us to build an army to fight the Blight. But Alistair is... he's Alistair, so it's mostly up to me. Oh, hey, I forgot that I got flowers for the dog guy. Well, Barkspawn joins the party, and by the party I mean the camp, because if the dog dies, I'm letting the Blight take over the world. We're finally in Lothering, which means I'll be able to leave my team behind. It also means I have a lot of questing to do, because I actually have the Zevron ASAP mod, meaning I have a pretty tough fight ahead of me the instant I leave Lothering. Also, in the spirit of the challenge, I put Liliana away and intimidate the revered mother into getting Sten free. I try not to use any party member, even outside of combat. In all my questing, I didn't level up to level 7, but I don't think that's an issue. If I struggle with the Zevron fight, however, all cards on the table, I'm going to use my respec mod. It just wastes time to go all the way back to specking the correct things. Instead of killing the guy who actively tried to kill me like any sane person would do, I wake him up for questioning. I taunt him for a bit, also very sane, before he calls me a sex goddess, and honestly, my ego couldn't deflate back down to a normal size after that, so he joins the team. The camp team, that is. I hard save often, as I'm not entirely sure the best order of things. There's an order that the game wants you to play in, but honestly, we need to do what works best for my character and her current abilities. So we start with the first half of the Red Cliff quest. Despite doing all the side quests, Nightfall was tricky. Everyone died, but I actually did a pretty good job of kiting the corpses at the end. We paid Caitlin for the blade, and after leveling up I realized I didn't choose a specialization. Then I remembered that I didn't have any of the specializations unlocked since I reset my PC recently, and I can't log back into the Dragon Age servers because they don't exist. Because I've unlocked them 10 times over in a previous lifetime, I just download a mod that unlocks them for me. We respec, I get arcane magic, and we press on. After killing the Red Cliff zombies, I detour and go to the Mage Tower. There's a revenant in the courtyard of the Red Cliff Castle that's an absolute beast if you're not ready for it. Plus, this will allow me to go back and get the mages for a later point in the Red Cliff quest if I so choose. Figuring out Arcane Warrior is a bit tricky at first. I do the wrong thing. I dive in head first with heavy armor and sell everything else. That was a mistake, because the heavy armor eats at my mana massively. Plus, I can't just equip a sword and go at it until I have a few more sustains that can keep me alive. I have some leather armor in my inventory, and that has to do while I cast spells. Once I'm out of the tower, I think I'm going to use medium armor until I get blood magic. Which, spoiler alert, I don't quite do that. I do something different in the end. I used to think the Mage Tower was a drag, but honestly, it's probably the shortest and most concise of the main quests. I guess Red Cliff isn't too bad if you just kill the child, and not try too hard with the village. I've declared my hatred for the tower in other scripts, but honestly, I think the reason I hate it is because I start with it and give up the run halfway through the fade every single time. Speaking of the fade, I think I got lost. I always go Burning Man, Golem, and then Spirit Guy. But for some reason I got all turned around and managed to get the Spirit Guy first. Don't ask me how, honest to God, I didn't even think it was possible. This part right here, this fight with the Sloth Demon, is where I'm stuck in my Nightmare solo run. If I don't get my shit rocked on the first stage, my game crashes during the phase change. I have the 4GB patch and everything. It's literally just this one part that likes to crash no matter what. Speaking of crashing, I did. I remember reading somewhere that sometimes being normal during a phase shift can prevent crashing, but I think the fireball did me in. I meant to start recording again after the first phase, but I forgot, so pretend that you saw me fight the rage phase. Now we're doing the abomination phase. Not that it matters, because I fucking die and you get to see the fight from the beginning. Either way, not as hard as on Nightmare. But what is as hard as Nightmare is this random fight right here. I died like 5 times, and by my last death, I was just screaming at my computer screen. Like, why is this random fight so fucking hard? Probably because I just came out of the Fade, where all the encounters are based around only having one person in the party. I gotta remember that the rest of the game isn't like that, and that's the whole point of the challenge. Oh, hey look, we meet Cullen again. Oh man, he just admitted to having a super deep crush on me. How embarrassing. He just watched all his friends get tortured and die, but honestly, this moment right here is gonna haunt him for the rest of his life. Anyway, we argue with him for a bit, even though arguing with Cullen in any game is like trying to reason with a brick wall. And despite his bloodthirsty pleas to slaughter anything that moves, we're gonna use Litany. Literally just because it makes less enemies to fight. Full disclaimer, I've never done this fight without cheating and letting Wind heal me, so let's see how this goes. All in all, it went pretty well. I think I died just once. Just kite and eliminate the smaller enemies, and use Litany whenever Uldred tried to change the mages. I also finally used all those bombs I like to save for the boss fights. Uldred wasn't actually that devastating. Just kite him until your abilities come back. If he casts a spell, drink a potion. And if all the cooldowns aren't done, use the force field. Alright, mage is down. Urbing is on our side, and now we're on to Red Cliff. We take the male entrance into the castle, and... oh. This is awkward. It's Jowen.
Whatever would I do without your sympathetic words to carry me through the long, cold nights? No, not at all. What reason would I have to feel that way? It's not like you betrayed me, lost me the love of my life, and got me thrown out of the circle.
Well, this has been a really awkward reunion. Let's move on. Honestly, despite being an early game questline, Redcliffe can be really a massive pain in the ass. So after using up most of my potions in this completely optional shade fight and being unable to reasonably get past this undead fight, I decided to come back to Redcliffe later and start on something else instead. Side note, I love talking to Sten because I'll say like 3 words to him and he'll call me a piece of shit and somehow I get +7 approval. Every single conversation is like that. I'm gonna try the Return to Ostagar DLC because, 1, I never have before, and it strikes me as an early game-friendly questline. We'll see. But the biggest thing right now is money. I need a lot of money to get the few things I need just to keep me alive. Oh my god, I tried this fight like 3 times, finally win, learn what I need, travel south to Ostagar, only to get my shit rocked by a bear and be sent all the way back to camp. I'll see you when I actually get to Ostagar. And I finally managed to reach Ostagar by getting a non-combative interruption. I have to admit, this quest is really nice. It's like a bittersweet hack and slash with some sick loot. The battles are fairly easy thanks to the architecture of the map and how spread out the enemies are. It makes kiting really easy. Honestly, it gives the same vibes as that one quest in Mass Effect 2 where you go to the original Normandy's crash site and collect all the dog tags and memories. You know what I'm talking about? Also, right now, I cave and reinstall my Lockbash mod. I'm sorry, I know it's cheating, and I probably don't need whatever's locked away, but I've never played through this DLC before, and I want to make sure I'm not missing out on anything. I'll literally turn it back off until I need it later, once I'm done with this quest. Oh, man, not this game pretending that Kaylin and I were friends, or that I would be sad at all that he's dead. Like, even Duncan's body, I'd understand, but Kaylin? Pff, down with the patriarchy and all that jazz. I don't remember Kaylin's armor fitting like this, but honestly, it looks good. Yeah, I know, I have the sexy armor mod. I can't help it, I just like being feminine, okay? Honestly, the last half of this quest was a pain in the ass. I absolutely burned through all my potions, and a lot of the most valuable things are too sentimental for me to just sell. Hopefully, with selling the rest of the non-sentimental things, I'll have a few good monies to craft some potions. Now, to get the ingredients is a whole other story, considering I need lyrium from the tower, elf fruit from the Dalish, and distillation agents from Denerim. But with my new supply of potions, which I wish I had more of for the amount of money I spent, I decided to go back and retry Redcliffe quest one more time. Mostly because I think I'm really starting to fall into like the groove of like how to play. I let Jowan out, but I think I said the wrong thing, so he'll probably be back and then sent to his death. That's what he gets for being a blood mage, I guess. Either way, the battles here are much easier. I still die a few times, but finding the right strategy is becoming a lot easier. It's not just fighting uphill battles, it's trying until I find something that works. I hate happy endings, and I also hate fighting this demon, so I let her lie dormant within Connor, and use her powers to boost Liliana's affection because of all my love interests, hers is the lowest. Oh, did I forget to mention, I have polygamy. I'm gonna have sex with all 3 available love interests available to a female warden. Gotta get those achievements back somehow. Now we're on to the Dalish questline. Basically, there are 2 sides, the Dalish and the werewolves. 99% of the time, I create peace, release the werewolves from their curse, and get the Dalish on my side. 1% of the time, I just kill the werewolves. And I've yet to convince the werewolves to just kill the Dalish. Usually it's so that I don't upset Zevron, but fuck it, it's just me this time. I will probably change my mind if the fight is too hard, though. I'm finally able to survive a regular ogre grab, and on top of that, I got the killing animation. Neat. I've played this game so many times, and I'll still come across new things. I had a vague memory of being able to reason with the hermit. Usually I wouldn't give up the scarf, but this time I didn't feel like fighting, so I traded Denalia's scarf for the acorn and solved the whole ordeal peacefully. Usually I just have Zevron steal it and the hermit break into a rage. This dragon fight is so fucking annoying. I changed my mind again. This questline is the fucking worst. What with all the confused wandering in the forest? That's so confusing. The only reason I could do it so concisely is because of sheer muscle memory alone. Even the map, which I rely on heavily as someone with no sense of direction, makes no fucking sense and turns me around if I follow it too closely. I don't even know why. It doesn't even look too bad. But I stopped using it because I just can't grasp it. Back to the fight that I hate, I have to literally just not touch the dragon, because every time I get close, it knocks me over. And every time it knocks me over, it goes for overwhelm, which I can live through if I have most of my health, but the knockover brings me down to half, and I can't get a health poultice in time. I'm literally on the verge of screaming every time it happens. I had to dip into my little sister's gluten-free treat stash that she got for her birthday, just to calm me down. Convincing the lady to kill a clan was actually pretty easy. I was a little bit scared that I'd fail the persuasion check, but it went off without a hitch. Then we were teleported into the camp and we did our thing. Aw man, this whole mass murder it's a little sad. It's like when you get revenge and you realize it's not so sweet. But honestly, I wish they'd showed up in later games. I had a whole rant here about like where the werewolves stand in Thetis lore-wise. but I read the epilogue slide and they all just got like killed, and so I was like, oh, okay. They don't integrate with society. They go back to being werewolves. It's kind of sad.
I didn't know my mother either, of course. She died giving birth to me. My first victim, as it were.
Oh god, there's something so savage about Zevran calling his mother who died in childbirth his first victim, but it's also kind of sad. Oh, man. Thinking about it now, and there's definitely a lot of shopping I should have done before slaughtering the entire Dalish camp. Elf fruit, for example. Well, we'll just have to pick up supplies wherever we can, I suppose. This quest has given us a good deal of money. Man, we're already on to the Orzammar questline. In advance, I think we'll do Harrowmont's questline, simply because the Deep Road part that Balin makes you do implies that you'll have a team, while the Proving is meant for one person. The rest is the same, I'm pretty sure. Oh my god, the cops are after me. Orzammar is a bit of a drag, so honestly, I'll come back when something important happens. But right now we're running around doing errands, because that's what dwarves need to elect a new king, apparently. God, I hate the early Deep Roads. It's boring, and all the little random fights can get frustratingly difficult for no reason. I brought Ogwen with me to Caeden's Cross because I thought I needed him to tell us how to get to Orton Tig. But we got there, like, with no issues, so I'm not even sure why I did that. Also, I'm not sure how I went into this with so little health poultices. This kind of happens often, and I'm not sure why. So I reached Orton Tig, and I turned back to go make / buy more poultices. Alright, well, turning back is going to be a massive time sink because there's no poultices in Orzammar. I'm a little nervous there may be no poultices anywhere, but let's take some detours, I suppose. I have only a few handfuls of potions, but I don't want to be here all day, so I'm just going to go forward with this. Usually when I run Arcane Warrior, I'd use Sword and Shield, as staves are kind of weak no matter how powerful they are. But this staff is pretty strong, does fire damage, and, you know, that plus my Cinderfell gauntlets, which boost fire damage, creates a really consistent damage that doesn't miss. So I mostly just stick with it. Follow to spiders. When they're not falling from the ceiling, that is. I know I say I hate a lot in a game that's literally my favorite game, but I fucking hate that I'm so caught up on this stupid spider fight that I literally have to just go back and level up even more before I even have a chance of doing this. Holy shit, the poison stacking on the Spider Queen is insane. As you can see, I went back and upgraded my armor and made more health poultices, and I still used almost all of them up on this one fight. Honestly, at this point, I'm betting on the Broodmother fight to be relatively easy, and also for the fight with Branka and Caridin to mostly be fought by Branka's minions. This scene right here is always why I save the Orzammar questline for later, aside from the fact that Orzammar questline is designed for you to do later. This scene right here has seemingly nothing to do with the questline, but rather the story as a whole. It raises the stakes, and while I personally believe curing Eamon is a more accurate midpoint turn, this scene has almost the same effect. The Archdemon is revealed, and the stakes are raised. And seeing the massive horde of Darkspawn makes them feel more tangible than they already were. First day they come and catch everyone. We're finally coming up on the Broodmother. Hopefully once that's done, the momentum in the Deep Roads will pick up. The Broodmother herself, as I suspected, wasn't too hard. You just kind of sit at this one spot, and neither her nor her tentacles can really get you. I am burning through poultices faster than I'd like, though. You know, because I have to stay in one spot. But Jesus, is this thing fucking scary. Just look at her. Yeah, moving on. Don't look at her anymore. I spec into Blood Magic at level 14, but I wasn't sure if it was the right call, so I made a hard save. And then after some fighting, I kind of realized that I should have spec'd further down the Arcane Warrior instead, so I do. I go back to that level up, but of course that's pre-Broodmother, so I'll be back in a moment. Anyway, so I scripted like 3 paragraphs worth of how I beat the puzzles, and I forgot to unpause the recording. On one hand, it would just be kiting golems and retrying fights 50 times over. On the other hand, that was like an hour of my life with nothing to show for it. Anyway, I would have mind to unpause the recording when we come up to the skull thing. This spirit anvil part, it was actually really easy. Just click on attack and wait. The worst part was how tedious it was. I think the spirits have high defense or something because most of my attacks just missed. It got a little bit dicey with the enraged spirits and the constant damage from the eyes, but even then I didn't use that many poultices. Oh yeah, I kind of mentioned this earlier. Caridin begs us to destroy the anvil, but of course Branka needs it. Because siding with Branka leads to us having golems in our fight against Darkspawn, I do what any sane person would do and side with her. Retrospective note, best decision of my life. Those things carried me. Literally, because they're like big, strong golems. Oh my god, the fight against Caridin was so much easier than I thought it would be. It's kind of crazy, because I just struggled for like an hour fighting all the random golems in the lead up to this. It's to the point where I was screaming at Branka to get up and help me fight. But Fereldan doesn't do that much damage, assuming he even hits, and the rest of the golems were taken out by a really, really lucky virulent walking bomb, which is the walking bomb that like spreads to others, as you can tell. With that, we take a crown back to Orzammar and crown Harrowmont as king. Finally, this questline took me so fucking long. I was on it for days. I have like 5 hours of recording. Finally, we're on to the Sacred Ashes quest, which I'm pretty excited for it. The loot's gonna be awesome. No one has approached me for sex, and honestly, I'm so disappointed, so I just went around and did it myself. Though I think I need Liliana with me, or at least the ability to not die in the interruption that leads to her personal quest, and I failed every single time I fight bandits in the woods, so we're staying friends, I guess. Still, we got Zevron and Alistair in the bag. Good enough for me. Oh no, this part is really awkward, because I don't bother giving my team good shit, so they're squishy as fuck. Oh man, I'm so excited. Yeah, that's right, I'm actually looking forward to gameplay. I love the Sacred Ashes questline. I love the aesthetics. I love the religious lore / undertones, the creepy cult backdrop, the Indiana Jones-esque gauntlet. Honestly, The Last Crusade probably has a hand in my unholy love for this questline. This is literally the perfect D&D adventure. This is what I enabled Lockbash for, by the way. Gift for Zevron, my beloved. Bro, why is he blue? The Orzammar questline takes up so much of the script because whenever I'm struggling or just bored, I like to alt-tab and write in the script. I have nothing for this first part yet because I'm having actual fun. The fights are both fun and challenging. The snowy abandoned temple is beautiful. The lore is so interesting. I'm not a traditionally religious person in life, but for some reason, fake religion in media, and especially fantasy, it's just literally so fascinating for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm getting my ass whooped, but it doesn't make me want to tear my eyeballs out like those stupid fucking golems did. But like, bro? A cult that worships a dragon? How is that not the coolest concept ever? I'm stuttering. I'm so hyped about this. Especially like a real tangible dragon. We have an entire age named after them. It's what the old gods were. I'd worship them too. Okay, the reason I went through this and loaded an old save right before I did was because I'm gonna try to agree to desecrate the ashes but not go through with it.
I loved her too. But what man can compare with a god?
Holy shit, dude, that line has stuck with me since I was like 15. I can't even tell you why, it's just epic as fuck. Man, this is awkward again. How do I keep running into this guy whose life I ruined? Luckily, he's not here to badger me about the fact that I sold him out and left him for dead. I'm not sure why he's here, actually. Gave me a nice necklace that I turned around and sold. I don't know who that Shadow Bunny is, because she's a real shitty clone. I literally don't have any of the spells she used. And my plan worked out really well. Colgrim was much easier to pick off on the mountaintop. Well, I missed out on a chance to get a really cool sword here, but I don't want to go back and do that whole thing again. That's a little upsetting.
You and I will not meet again.
Oh, that's easy enough. What Morgan doesn't know won't kill her.
I may not always prove worthy of your friendship. I will always value it.
Oh, man. Right after we lied about killing her mom. Oh, jeez. Alistair fucked up so bad by not telling me he was Merrick's illegitimate son. Dude, I'm stuttering. I'm so pissed. Alistair fucked up so bad by not telling me he was Merrick's illegitimate son that he teleports Redcliffe to explain himself. Okay, alright, we're settled into the new estate, and it's time to go rescue Honora. This should be easy.
But I'm afraid we've had a setback.
How delightful! Surrender, and you may be shown mercy.
Okay, well, I might have jinxed this one. No problem, though. We can escape on our own, thanks to our ability to talk our way out of any situation. Man, I make a pretty good guard. I'm a natural leader. I probably could have risen through the ranks. I already got some guard friends. These guys are my boys. Too bad I gotta leave it all behind to go back to being a Grey Warden. I don't have anything in the script to transition to this, so we go to do Unrest in the Alienage. And that one ends by figuring out that Logain actually was selling the Alienage elves into slavery. And let me just say, holy shit, the fight with the slaver is bad. I managed to cheese this like save spot, but even then he does crazy damage with just like his base staff. And I had to use the rest of my potions just to kill him. Especially when my cheese spot turned on me and I saved at a spot where he would always inevitably find me. Also, we don't even kill him. I was scared he'd finish me off if I took down the rest of his health, so I let him run away. Oh, but it's done. We're done. And all this just to clear out Alarith of what little health poultices he has. Oh gee, this isn't looking good. The Landsmeet goes pretty much how I expected. Mostly everyone sides with the Wardens, but there's still a few that make this fight against Logain and his men a pain. And now, for this part. I did make it a point to recruit every non-DLC person in this run, and we already slept with Alistair and got that achievement, so we might as well recruit Logain. Alistair's upset about it, but yeah, go cry some more, I guess. Inquisition aside, can anyone see this guy living more than a year or two? Especially as a Grey Warden? It's retconned later, but, you know, at the end of, in the epilogue slides, it's canon that he just dies, because he's an old bitch. You know, Logain not 1 minute ago was trying to get me and all my loved ones killed, but, like, fuck it. He can be my dad if he wants. Not in a gross way, but in an honest to God, my character is fatherless and desperate for that sort of figure kind of way. Oh, shit. Fuck, this is awkward. Morgan thinks her mom is dead and that she's safe to have this baby? Morgan thinks her mom is dead and that she's safe to have this old god baby? And, we can't let that happen. For the greater good, man, we have to just tell her no. We can't let Plymouth get her hands on an old god soul. Not after I was too lazy to kill her. This means it's a permanent goodbye to Morgan, though. Well, this isn't good. I nearly decimated my entire 50 dwarf army in this first general. No matter, we have another 50 army person to use on the next. Again, forgot to script this part, but I do, I use up the rest of my dwarves and then the army, which makes the next part easier. Man, this whole cutscene just reminds me of how helpful Riordan's sacrifice was and how he was just doomed from the start. Also, for some reason, my space buns are glowing. This Conjurer fight was an actual pain in the ass, and the only reason I didn't die again was because, for some reason, on the winning fight, it didn't summon the Shades. I don't know if it's because I interrupted it or something, but it was a one-on-one. Also, you fight with a few more, like, you know, S-tier villains like that, and I struggled with them all, but that one was, like, a little bit special. And that's it. After some cheesing with the ballistas, which used to be a lot easier, the dragon is weakened. We knew what we were in for when we turned Morgan away, and again when we told Logain to stay. Bunny takes her sword, and in one last act of heroism, plunged the blade into the archdemon's skull and saved all of Fereldan. I spent like 10 minutes reading the epilogue, because thanks to a mod conflict that I never could before. And then I wake at my own funeral where Connor teleports me into the sea as revenge for making him deal with his devil. The end. Oh, holy shit, we're finally done. You have no idea how long this took. I had an entire week off of work thanks to scheduling changes, and even then I had to swap a shift just to get this done before I went back in. I'm not even talking this entire video, just the gameplay. I took this so seriously, but I'm hoping this sets up an interesting idea for more challenges down the line. In retrospect, I remember fearing that later on we got in the game, the easier the challenge would become, thus not being very challenging. Boy, was I wrong. I struggled with this game up until the final fight. And including the final fight. Also, while Arcane Warrior Blood Mage may be a good combo if you're in a team, I think it would have been better if I went Arcane Warrior Spirit Healer for solo. Literally just for the passive that the Spirit Healer gives. That would have also freed up some points to use in another skill tree that would have, you know, suited me better. So anyway, leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment down below if you have anything to say, anything that's on your mind. I love you guys, including the influx of new viewers and subscribers that I've been getting. And, take care of yourselves.